I didn't go to college. I didn't do all that stuff. I was a freaking blue collar guy swinging a hammer. Oh. So what are the downfalls to the bird dog method? Downfalls to the bird dog method is that at some point, a lot of your suppliers and your buyers will find out who each other are, and you'll get worked out of a lot of relationships just naturally. Make sense? So like Eric Ballman, my previous camera guy, bird dog's a fourplex to me. I still own it to this day. It's a SubTo deal, great deal. And Eric made like $7,000 on it, but Andrew McGuire, who's the SubTo student who sold it to me, he made $21,000 on it, right? So he was the wholesaler direct. Eric bird dogged it to me, made $7,000. The next day, Andrew McGuire goes, oh dude, you bought the deal from me. Why don't I just send the deals directly to you? That is gonna happen. It's not like I went to find who that person was. It was the information was given to me. And everybody receives a copy of that report at the end of the transaction. So you'll be finding suppliers and finding buyers, and then all of a sudden, you're getting worked out of relationships. So you can do dozens of deals every year as a bird dog, but you will ultimately have to keep filling your pipeline all the time, right? Or you could upgrade from being a bird dog to doing the wedge method. And the wedge method is where you bring something to me that I want to buy and I want to hold. And instead of taking a fee up front, you take ownership in the deal. So the first wedge method deal I did was actually in Yuma, Arizona, 5.5 years ago with Steve Crawford, a SubTo student.
Hey guys, I had chills probably the last 2 or 3 hours. I'm here with Stephen Crawford, 41-year-old chemical mixer in Yuma, Arizona, decided about 4 months ago to Google the words, how to get rich. He Googled it and it told him to get into real estate. So here I am at Steve Crawford's property, less than 90 days of finding out who I am and what subject to and seller finance is. Steve Crawford owns this property, his first real estate transaction ever. He owns it $0 out of his pocket. He got it on 0% seller finance. I cannot even tell you how happy I am about this. And he has less than 90 days of experience. And when he got the contract, he had less than 30 days of experience. You've already found renters?
Yeah, I have people calling me at least, I haven't even put out an ad yet, and I have at least one person calling me per day off a feeler ad just describing how many bedrooms the house has.
So after you make your payment to the seller, you make your payment to your private lender, you make your payment to the taxes and insurance, you're gonna cash flow of around $400 to $500 a month.
Right, yeah. 4 on the low, 5 on the high.
We had launched SubTo, we were maybe a week old. He brings me a mobile home park. I still own it to this day, it makes me like $7,500 a month. And Steve brings it to me, but he couldn't negotiate. So I said, I'll negotiate, I'll do the thing. So I strike the deal with the seller, I get an incredible deal. And Steve's like, well, I don't want to get paid a fee, I want ownership. I go, okay, I'll give you 5% ownership. And every time you bring me another deal, I'll give you an extra 2.5%. So the next deal you bring me, I'll give you 7.5%. The next deal, 10%. The next deal, 12.5%. And then I'll cap you at 15. But where now every time you bring me a deal, I'll keep you in at 15%. And how many deals do you think Steve has done with me? 2. Why didn't he do a lot more? Because the wedge method is also not a permanent thing. It's an upgrade mechanism, like it's a stepping stone. He took the credibility of being a partner with me and he just started buying stuff on his own because now he has the brand recognition, he has an asset in his portfolio. When you go out and you start having conversations, that seller, even though they're not doing a credit check, you're not getting a bank loan, that seller is going to ask you, do you own other assets and can I trust that you know how to manage a $20 million deal? Steve Crawford, before doing a wedge method with me, the answer would have been what? No, which makes it really hard to strike those kind of deals. So when you do the wedge method, you get ownership of whatever it is that we're doing together, which gives you the ability to go compound and do other things in the future. Another good example is 2 summers ago, 2 RV parks were brought to me from a SubTo member named Jordan Reyes. And Jordan Reyes watches the wedge method training and he goes, I could just bring you an RV park, you buy it and I make money? I go, yeah. And if we do get a really good deal, I'll give you ownership. And he's like, what? Okay, that's insane. I go, yeah, it's great. He brings these 2 RV parks. I do all the negotiation. My team does all the follow-up. We do all the due diligence. I go buy these 2 RV parks totaling about $7 million. And I give him 10% ownership in the parks. plus 90 grand. So he got a bird dog fee and 10% ownership.
Show me the money!
Okay, so you can do that kind of stuff. And so how many times do you think Jordan's done this with me? One time. Why did he only need it one time? Because he now utilizes the credibility of saying, I own these 2 RV parks. Then now he goes around town and he tells all these RV park owners, hey, I own 2 RV parks down the road. I'd like to buy yours.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
It gives you the credibility to compound into the next phase, which is owning some of these things yourself.
One of the biggest requests we get every single month is, Pace, will you focus on something other than single family? We want to learn multifamily, RV parks, mobile home parks. Well, we've listened to you and we've built something great. Next week, we have a challenge that's all about RV parks. You can wholesale them. You can wedge into them and get ownership for nothing. You can also build a portfolio based on RV parks like I have all through this challenge. We're gonna go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, a 4-day challenge. Where do I find them? How do I underwrite them? How do I talk to these sellers? How do I get financed on them? And how one RV park can literally allow me to retire from my 9-to-5 job or even get my spouse to retire from their job. Go to thebiggestchallengeever.com. Again, thebiggestchallengeever.com. RSVP for this challenge. RV There Yet is the name of the challenge. RV Parks is the focus. Go to thebiggestchallengeever.com. Come join us finding, negotiating, underwriting, and getting an RV park so that you or your spouse can retire from that crappy 9-to-5 job and you can tell your boss to kiss your ass.
I have one in Kermit, Texas, brought to me by Brandon Harris, who's also in SubTo.
Everyone here has the same question. How am I part of a $2 million RV park deal with no money down?
Brandon Harris brings this RV park to me. This RV park will net around $26,000 a month. It will net. When I say net, that's like I get a stack of $26,000 every month that doesn't go to any other bills but me. Brandon's like, I want 0 fees, but I want 20% of the asset. I go, done. So what? If I'm bringing in 26 grand a month and he gets 20% of that, what's his monthly income coming in every month? $5,200 a month, every single month for the rest of his life. So think about like how simple that is. You don't need to go do a bird dog deal every single month. In the beginning, it's nice to go get a couple of deals. After you get a couple of deals, you go, all right, I get bird dog, but then the next phase is let's wedge into an asset where the asset gives me as much money as I was making bird dogging, but now I'm hands off. Does that make sense? So wedge method is great because it is another stepping stone and it gets you into ownership where you don't have to bring any money, no management experience. You don't have to come up with any sort of credibility. You don't have to be bankable. None of that stuff. It's just another cheat code that I created that allows people to get into the game a lot easier. And I help hundreds of SubTo members do this all the time. They're doing it with each other, helping each other wedge into deals. And you know what will happen with Brandon Harris is guess what Brandon Harris will do? Maybe 1 deal with me on wedge, and then he'll just go do it on his own. You don't need to go do 10 wedge deals with somebody, maybe 2. The most I've ever done with somebody is 2, and then they leave and they basically go do it on their own. So it's the paradigm that you have, right? The mindset that you have changes when you're like, I own that. You know, it's like I drive to a $20 million asset. The first time I bought a big deal like that, I was like, am I worthy of this? And then 6 months later, it becomes normal that you own it. It's a paradigm shift. You're like, wait, why don't I have more? Right? So it's just the evolution of growing up in the business. And then to other people, you have a lot of validity. Yeah, you're very valid. You have credentials like, okay, you're trying to buy my property, Mr. Investor, but do you currently own property? And when you're brand new, and you have to say, no, I don't. That's a really hard objection to overcome is you're asking a seller, think about it, that $20 million property. We're asking that seller to seller finance that property to us. Somebody who has ran the property for 35 years. He knows every light bulb. He knows every outlet that doesn't work. He knows the problem with the pool pump. He knows everything about the asset and all the crap he's had to deal with for the last 35 years, right? You're gonna come in and say, hey, I'd like to take over your property and I've never ran a property or managed a property before, and I'd like to make you payments. He's gonna be like, do you know how to manage stuff? No, I don't. So it's not the bank, it's not the credit, it's like the seller wants to sell it to you on seller finance, but they wanna make sure that you actually know how to manage the asset. And so when you're doing the wedge method gets you to a point where you have credibility to say, yes, I do. Me and my team know how to manage shit like this. Okay, what assets do you have? Oh, I own these 2 RV parks. Okay, cool, let's do it. It gives you a quicker yes. Okay, so how do I start with wedge method? You start with the wedge method by going to your buyer. Same thing as bird dog. What are you looking for? Well, that sounds hard. It's not hard. You go to places like Crexy, LoopNet, Landwatch, and you go on there and you go, okay, that fits what Tyler's looking at. He wants RV parks in these cities, and click, 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 click. Cool. Hey, broker, my name is Trevon. I have a buyer. I'm wondering if you'd be willing to talk to him. He buys stuff just like this. When are you available for a call? That's all you're doing. You're setting appointments. It's easy. You don't have to cold call. You don't have to, like what we're teaching people in the No One Left Behind Challenge, that's all they're doing for me right now. They're just literally setting appointments for me to close. We show them where the lead came from on Monday. Tuesdays, they set the appointment. Wednesday, they learn how to comp. They don't need to learn how to comp. We just do that so they go home knowing how to comp. And then today, Thursday, they're learning how to fill out contracts because they're going to get a couple contracts today. By a couple of days, you should have contracts. It's that fast. It sounds mind-blowing. So the business is really that simple. The problem is, are you going to do it today or are you going to do it tomorrow? And tomorrow is always tomorrow, right? You know you've started the journey when somebody says no to you. So you want to go out and go, okay, I don't deserve a deal until I have 50 no's. That's the barometer. It's like, no. People said no. Good, that's the breadcrumb to get back. It's like Hansel and Gretel. They couldn't have got back with the breadcrumbs. You need the no's to get to the yes. I need 50 no's. I need you to get no. So when people go, oh, Pace, I haven't done a deal yet. I go, great, how many no's have you got in the last 30 days? None. Bird dogging, you can bird dog on larger deals, but what's the difference between appointment setting and bird dogging on larger deals? So let's say a bird dog means they're already bringing a contract to you that has already been contracted, right? Remember, you're not finding deals, you're finding the people who found the deal. That's what bird dogging is, right? So I'm just copying and pasting an address. Hey, do you like this? 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 If you're doing the wedge method, you could definitely take a deal somebody already has and say, this is already packaged up. I'll bring it to you, but I want percentage ownership. You can take a bird dog deal and turn it into a wedge deal. If you're setting appointments, it means you are actually trying to be the wholesaler, but you don't have the ability to close a deal, so you're setting the appointment for them to close the deal for you.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Right.
So you're like a diet wholesaler. You're like, I can't close this deal. I'm afraid of what I'll say or not say or whatever else. Will you take the call? But I'm happy to set the appointment. And it eases you into that business. So with the people at No One Left Behind Challenge, we're having them set appointments for us, right? So they can walk away going, all right, I know how to set an appointment. I know how to work with people in the community. I know where the deal came from. I don't have to worry about negotiating and like contracting right away, but I at least got started.